Okay, good evening, everybody. I hope you all are having a great week and welcome to today's webinar. Today we have three of our panelists who are also CTD family and our dear Madhuri. Thank you so much, Madhuri, for moderating today. I'll start with introductions. Quick introduction about Madhuri, and she can bring in the other panelists as well. Madhuri is our mentor coach. She's also our ICF PCC leadership coach. She, by education, is an MBA with marketing specialization, and she was the ICF board member in Singapore during 2023. She is an inspiring coach, leader, and also inspires entrepreneurs in their discovery to create and prosper while re-establishing themselves. She is a storyteller, leadership coach, and a dynamic human resource. She has 18 years of experience and she's also an ICF ACTC, and currently she is the faculty for our ACTC program. Over to you, Madhuri.
Thank you so much, Aishwarya. All those big words sound really overwhelming, but thank you for the introduction. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this session. I am thrilled to have this session, today, and welcome my panelists, my dear panelists from our ACTC batches, which is our team coaching course that we have launched, that Coach to Transformation. We have participants from our batch 1, CP Thap, from calling in from Singapore. We have participant from batch 2, Sunil Kevaya, calling in from India. And we have our participant from batch 3, Charles, who's calling in from Nigeria. Welcome, everybody, and fantastic to have all three of you here. Um, what what we are going to do in the next 1 hour, or attempt to do, is bring to you our experience and what we have been seeing is happening in the world of team coaching, right? It's really nice to see such a diverse group today, with coaches, with peer coaches, with people with HR experience, all coming in here. A little bit about our panelists. Let me start with our youngest team coach, which is Charles. Charles is an ICF PCC and a trained team coach with Coach to Transformation. He has facilitated over 300 programs, and what an incredible human being. He keeps spreading the love of coaching, and great ambassador for ICF. He has served also on the ICF board and comes in from Nigeria. Charles actually works with entrepreneurs as well as teams, and is spreading the work of team coaching in Nigeria. Welcome, Charles, and thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
We then have Sunil, who has absolutely been an incredible supporter and a team coach with us. He has completed his ACTC credential. He is our batch 2 participant. Welcome, Sunil. Besides his 25 years plus experience that he brings in from coaching leaderships, he himself has served on the CXO levels, and he works with CXOs as well as teams. He has worked in manufacturing sectors as well as retail, finance, and many more. In the most recent of experiences, he has actually been instrumental to bring team coach to into the business world and work with some really big manufacturing MNCs in India. Welcome, Sunil. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Madhuri.
And last but not the least, CP Tham. CP Tham is joining in from Singapore, like me. And what an incredible experience CP has. CP's name is synonymous with team coaching in this part of the world. He is known for his work in the CHRO space. He himself has been a CHRO. He also is an ICF PCC and a trained team coach. Very soon we will see ACTC alongside CP as well. Yes. And he has been the HR business partner, learning and development, organizational development work that he has done across the APAC region. Besides that, what CP brings in to the table is actually he has trained with Professor David Clutterbuck, which is the guru of team coaching. And he's one of the best persons to learn peril model from. So CP, thank you so much for being here as well. With that, let us begin. Where can team coaching be applied? And before I go there, what we all know about teams, okay? Do we all know what does a team mean? Are we all familiar with teams? Yes, no, you can give a thumbs up if you say yes, and no if you say no. So let me see those thumbs ups and thumbs downs, whatever. Who all have worked with teams? Yes, no. Okay, I cannot see anybody here. Yes, Aishwarya says yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Rahul. All right. So then if you have worked with teams, what does a team mean? Who all are part of a team? You can open mic and speak. It's perfectly all right. This is an interactive session. No?
Teams, you're talking of teams, right, Madhuri?
Yes. Yes.
So, well, teams would be your team members, people who report to you, your peers, your associates, you
Perfect.
deal with. I mean, is that in that context you're asking, in organizational context?
Yeah, any
Yeah,
context.
so three-layered. One is your junior to you, or people who report into you, your peer level people, your associates, interdepartmental team, cross company teams, consulting people also come on the team. So that's what team is, I would think.
And the biggest member of the team is missing here, Nariman, which is the leader of the team, and the team members, right?
Yeah, of
So
course.
all of this comprises of a team, right? Many a times we have seen that in this world of sports, you would have seen there is a team coach available, right? Similarly, a team, yes, Asit, perfect. A team is a group of individuals, yes. Asit is also part of our team coaching journey. Asit, thank you so much for doing this. But yes, team comprises of a leader and team members, and all that becomes one team. The other most important attribute of a team is that all of them are working towards a common goal or a common purpose, right? Many a times, and I'm sure my panelists are going to agree with me, in the outside world, people confuse between team coaching and group coaching. Okay, these are two different forms of coaching is what I wanted to bring about. So today's agenda, we are going to attempt to cover what is team coaching, what is the advantage of having an ACTC or a team coach certification credential, uh, what are the different scenarios where team coaching can actually be applied. Okay, so that's the focus area. We may go back and forth. We may not necessarily follow this same pattern, but that is our attempt to cover all of this. So with that, my first question to everybody in the panel. What has been your experience in this outer world when you look at approaching companies? When you see, I want to do a team coaching project, let's say, or I want to do team coaching in your organization. What is it that you normally hear as may call myths as such, which we could attempt to buster here? Charles?
Thanks, Madhuri. Well, just like with coaching, oftentimes they think training. So more often than not, organizations can identify what gaps they have, and they would think or believe that the mainstream approach will be to build capacity. So when you tell them about team coaching, first they need to even understand what coaching is. So they just think, okay, team training, all right. So that's the first thing. They oftentimes want to train their teams. Now, the reality is the goal is the same. They want to solve a problem. They want to build capacity. But the approach might differ. and without prejudice to them. That is about what they know. That's what they are used to. So it behoves on the coach to try and let them understand what he intends to do beyond just saying, I would like to engage your team in some team coaching interventions. That's not enough. You need to let them know what team coaching is and how it is different from what they already are familiar with, and the nature of impact it will make and the duration. Don't just tell them that, because when you do, they are likely to misunderstand you.
Thank you, Charles. And most of the times, isn't it that they look at, oh, you mean are you going to do group coaching instead of team coaching? That's the most common thing that I have also heard, where there are these misconceptions. Are you going to do training or group coaching? Absolutely. CP, what have you been hearing in this part of the world?
Yeah, I agree with what Charles mentioned. But there's also a fine line sometimes I find between team coaching and, let's say, team learning. I think first, most important way for us to be able to differentiate, of course, to be able to differentiate our services, right? What we can do for the team. We do not want to position ourselves as another trainer, right? And then you go in and you conduct training for the team. I think that's not what we want to do. So one, it is to use learning as one part of what we do with the people in the team. I think the definition that we talked about earlier, that there is this interdependency between the members of the team, I think that's a very important piece of notion, right? Or message to send to the sponsor or the team, that what we're going to do with them, right, is not just to make each of them more effective as a team member, but it's to look at how they can do so with each other. I think the focus is how they can do that with each other. And therefore, another role that we play, right, as a team coach, is on facilitating the conversation between themselves, right? Because often when individuals in a team, when they are not able to leverage each other to do better, right, is essentially the other flip side of it is because of the breakdown in communication, and the misunderstanding that they have with each other. So one of the things I do, right, in my course of me doing team coaching is I will always request that I be given a chance to sit in the regular team meetings or any team huddle that they have, right? Once the client, or the potential client say, no, we do not want you to come in, to observe our meeting. We just want you to come in and talk to us, what we can learn to become better and so on. That to me is one thing that we can't do for them as a team coach, and we can't add value if we're not able to observe what goes on in the team meeting. And are there any blind spots that we can point out, or any passive resistance that we can observe, right, that each team member has on each other. And of course, building to a stage, right, with the help of the team leader, that we can discuss all these things openly, so that individuals who might actually not be aware that they're demonstrating such behaviors, right, they are aware, and we remove these kind of obstacles so that they can better leverage each other's skill sets and experiences through being able to work together better.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents. Yeah.
Absolutely, CP, and what you said about observing the team and observing the team at work or in the meetings, right? When the leader also is present, and that's so critical when many a times the leader is telling that my team needs coaching and keeps himself or herself out of the picture. When actually, when we are talking about coaching the team, it is inclusive of the leader. Sunil, your thoughts?
Thank you, Madhuri. And most has been said by Charles and TCP. Just to aid, many a times organizations have used all traditional methods to come over the challenge they are experiencing. It may be training, maybe going through some special things, but then they still miss that finer things, and they are still wondering what is that something is not working when we are working together. And that's where sometimes, as you rightly said, they themselves may not know that what is that something not working. It may be sometimes a common purpose, sometimes maybe trust, sometimes maybe a courage to conflict, sometimes it may be just collaborations. And that's where the team coaching comes in a handy, where you explore together as a team what is that something we are missing together as a team, and then the coach just being there to reflect and tell you that if you really thinking in right direction, what is that something would make the goal happen for you. And that's the the beauty of this team coaching, where bring the team together, make them reflect and see what is that something you are not seeing, which is quite obvious as a team. And that's where the team coaching and coach come in very handy.
Absolutely. And this is a good point to actually just flash what ICF says. What does team coaching mean? And I'm just going to quickly share that on the slide. If you notice the definition, it is actually very similar to one-on-one coaching, but there is a small little difference. Okay. It is partnering. It is still in a co-creative and reflective process with teams, again, not with individuals, but teams, and its dynamics and relationships. For me, these are the keywords, because the team coach is there to look at what is going on in the team. What are the relationships, like CPA or Charles and Sunil mentioned? What are those relationships, and how can you inspire the entire team? So the entire team is your client. Again, a common purpose and shared goals, which means a group of individuals working on something may not be termed as a team. Okay, because they might be coming to you for coaching, but they are not reporting to the same leader. They are not working on a common purpose and a shared goal. They are working on individual goals, hence they are not considered team. Okay, please give us a thumbs up if this part is clear, so that we can move on. So many a times what team coaches would do, like our panelists have said, is that they would recognize conflicts. They would recognize the power dynamics. Who is the stronger person here? Who is here to, kind of create all those political gimmicks within the team? Who is here actually for building the team? Who is the giver? Who is the bleeding heart? And all of that, right? So my next question to the panelists: what are some of the challenges in your experience that you have noticed when you have to transition the thoughts of your clients from group coaching to team coaching? We start with CP first.
Yeah. I think people are a lot more willing to talk about themselves. Because I've done group coaching as well, where it's just a bunch of people who do not work together and then come and do the sessions together. So one thing I noticed is transiting from group coaching to team coaching, although it's with two different group of people, is that people tend to be more willing to talk about themselves, just themselves, right? When you are doing group coaching. Because that's what it is, right? They are being, coached, not individually, but of course as a group, but they are receiving the coaching as an individual. But when you move to team coaching and you are talking about dynamics between individual and the team, maybe it's the context of the culture. I'm not sure whether it's the same everywhere else, but people tend to be a lot more conservative when it comes to talking about themselves vis-a-vis another person in the team and how they are working together and so on. A lot more difficult to get people to go into that kind of conversation. And therefore, the support from the leader is very important. Because if the leader is not the one leading by example and doing it first, right, then it makes things even harder to start. Yeah.
And what do you mean by leading by example in this case?
Oh, so getting the leader to start, right? Giving his or her comments on how things are going, not between the team members, but between the leader himself or herself with the team members. So, being part of the conversation, that you are trying to facilitate. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody has any examples to share around this point? Yes, Sunil, I see your mic.
So when we look at group coaching and team coaching, and I have been doing both, and group coaching is a set of leaders, maybe, or set of managers, may be having a similar purpose, but there is no common purpose for that. Whereas the team is team when they have a common purpose to achieve together, and that's where the team in its own dynamics become very different because they have interdependability, including the leader of the team. And when I started, one of the biggest MNC, the team coaching, and the first question when after some conversation I asked was, do you see yourself as a team, or you see yourself as a group? And that's where a lot of reflection started, because they were heading their own functions individually. They were seeing themselves as a head of that function, but not as a team, including the head of their manager or head of their team. So when we started conversation in that direction, the lot reflections started emerging, that how do we come out of our individual function and become a team which has a common goal to serve.
Charles?
Yeah, I was going to point out that, the very best you can get from a group coaching will be leaders who have same goals but different values. So you may come together and say, we want to improve our leadership. Okay, so that's the same goal, right? But their value system, how they approach leadership, will be completely different. Now, when you transit from that group coaching to team coaching, you see the importance of having the same values and the same goal. And then you now look at having even shared values. Because at this point, because we are different, we will have different values, certainly. And even if we have the same values, it may be in different orders of priority. But when you come to team coaching, you're trying to get them to now share their values, because they can now see themselves in a mirror. In order to achieve that common goal, they see themselves reprioritizing their values. So that's a side of diversity you will find when you transit from a group coaching to a team coaching. In group coaching, they really don't care whether they share the values, because it's just the goal, right? But when you get to the team coaching, it's now important that they are singing from the same hymn sheet. And so you see them making adjustments, becoming real to each other, so to speak.
Absolutely. And so many things that we can observe in a team setting, right? Somebody is speaking, let's say Charles is speaking, and I am actually looking away as Charles is speaking, or something like that. In a team setting, this happens. You have these dynamics that you're observing, and the team coach is actually there to reflect, hey, what's going on there? And a lot can happen in those sessions. We have been observing, I think we've been part of one such team coaching session where the leader would speak, and then there will be five of them who would just say yes, 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 to whatever the leader was proposing. And that is a big, big red flag. But let me just summarize what we have said just now, where what I'm hearing from all of you is that there are relationships in teams. There is a common goal. There is a common purpose. But there are team dynamics, team members, and a leader. So that's the attribute as such of a team where the team coaching exists. I've been observing a lot of teams. We all work in a lot of teams. Let me just bring in everybody and say, uh, how many of us have observed things happening in teams? So you can just put a Y in the chat box or put a hand up or put a thumbs up. How many of us observe some things happening in the team? Yes. Okay. All right. One of the things I have seen is that, yes, thank you. Thank you. So, Srini, thank you, Srinivas. Thanks, Aishwarya. So while all this is happening, one of the things I noticed is there is a big gap in communication or understanding within the team. And I'm checking with our panelists, in your experience, when you have started coaching teams or you've been observing teams, what are some of the things which a team coach could do? And is this a space that probably a team coach could work with teams on? Sunil, you want to go first?
Can you elaborate a little bit your question
Yeah.
once again, sir?
Yeah. So there is this team where seems like there is lack of communication is what I'm observing, where people are not talking to each other. And I'm just wondering, is this one such space where team coach could probably be, we could look at?
Absolutely. So absence of communication itself is a huge barrier working together as a team. Because in a team, when you are not communicating, a lot not moving, which can move, and that's where when you make the team sit together and ask them that what is your reflection about your own communication amongst you, a lot get appear on the surface, because there may be fear, there may be a absence of trust, there may be an absence of courage to conflict, there may be an absence of common values, and lot may come up when you make them reflect that what is stopping you to communicate what you want to communicate. So a coach holds that mirror at that point of time and allow them to reflect and see what in generally they are not able to see, because they are busy in their own work. They are just focused on their individual targets, their individual goals. But when you make them sit together and hold that mirror, lot get emerged through reflections.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm just wondering, because there is a whole lot of confusion, that is it, can this happen over how many sessions? How many sessions would be required, or what do we do? What do we call as a team coaching engagement? CP?
Sorry, I lost you a bit towards the end. Can you just repeat the last
Yeah.
part?
Yeah. There is always this confusion that how we have a one-on-one coaching session, what could be considered as a team coaching intervention or team coaching work that we have to do? What
You mean
could
the
be?
duration or the number of sessions?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, this is often a very difficult to answer a question even when client asks about it. So I always fall back on this whole notion of what needs to be done in the first place. So what were some of the observation that the team leader or the sponsor has already observed? All right, and I tend to give a tentative number. So typically, I would say that for anything to be effective, we may go up to 4 to 5 sessions. But I also give a caveat that what will determine the number of sessions at the end is for me to do that one observation first of any team activity, which is typically a team meeting, and for us to see what's going on, with the team. Now, of course, again, there is also this whole notion that you might not see everything in the team meeting, and if you invite yourself, or rather, if you are, part of the team meeting, the team members may not necessarily behave the same way as they would. So I typically won't commit too long a duration. I would say probably, let's do a contracting of about 3 to 4 sessions within a 3 to 4 months period. So once a month, kind of this touch point. And of course, with the provision that it can be adjusted, right? It can be adjusted in terms of we can lengthen it, we can have the option of having more sessions, or we could cut short the entire engagement if let's say it's a minor issue that needs to be addressed. Yeah. So that's how I usually would do it.
So, Madhu, if I can add very quickly, number of session or a length of engagement is greatly based on the designing part of the coaching journey. And that's based on the pre-work which we do to understand that where is the organization or team in its journey and what needs to happen. When we do the designing part, we have a bit of clarity that how much time and number of sessions it would take. So that's part of possibly sometimes the designing of the journey part.
Yes, Charles.
You asked a good question about communication and tying into a number of sessions.
Yeah.
One thing that we find is that team members may work together, but they don't understand each other. So team coaching is not a 100-meter dash. You're not going to understand people immediately. You're not going to understand people suddenly. And which is the reason why team coaching interventions are over a period. So we are looking at one another, observing one another, having open conversations with one another in a safe space, devoid of the things that could becloud us like the work, etc. So when they come into a team coaching session, it is a clear air. We're not talking about assignments, deadlines, options now. We're talking about us in relation to those assignments and deadlines, so to speak. The individuals, the entire team is coached as one person. And so that's why team coaching interventions are not one-offs. They are designed to achieve that understanding, because when the team members understand each other better, they can collectively achieve outstanding results. That's the power of communication that happens.
Very nicely put, three of you. And there is something on the chat box as well, which says team coaching requires time investment for long term because the issues of relational and psychological. Absolutely. In your experience, do you have any examples to share around the second part, which I most commonly observe and which Sunil also alluded to? It's about lack of trust in a team. And I gave that example. One of I had observed this where everybody would just say yes to the leader, would not come up with anything else. CP, what has been your experience around trust while working with teams?
Yeah, it's, again, a very challenging topic to look at. One of the things I have tried, just to share on building trust among team members, it's a very simple activity. Is to get people to talk more about themselves. And I feel that this is something that, and ironically, this is something that high-performing individuals, they tend to overlook when they come together. So there was a team that I was working with that was being brought together for a project. And very quickly, there was a lot of issues with the project, right? Things were not falling into place. And then I was asked to look into it by ex-colleague of mine who is currently the HR head of the company. And one of the things that we quickly realized, right, when we had the opportunity to talk to each of the individual, is that they hardly have any activity together to interact with each other, right? And it's kind of make complex because the project that they're working on is not their regular work. It's an additional, like a task force that they are being put together, to produce something for the leadership, right? For that period of time. So it was a very simple activity where I just used pictures and get everyone to, talk about themselves and to have that kind of opportunity, right, to reveal something about themselves through the activity that they normally would not do so as to build the kind of trust between themselves. Of course, it's just a very initial stage to get them to be comfortable to talk about themselves, with each other. So I think that was, the I find a start to get people to start to, build the trust among themselves.
Very nice. And when you start building on that trust, it is not a one-off activity or a one-day program. There are follow-ups to this, I suppose. So maybe the team would decide that they want a training session on collaboration or trust, maybe. I'm not sure. Is that your experience, CP? How does it work?
Yeah. So I think so with that, right? Of course, as the team goes on in their regular session, I encourage them to share with each other what are some of the obstacles or some of the challenges that they face in their work, right? To be more comfortable to be able to seek help and also to offer help to each other as they build the trust. Of course, it can lead to itself a learning session, for them to maybe come together and talk about, what can they do to continue to build trust between each other. So it can be a very mini kind of a learning session that you can go. But I was very conscious to actually get them to do this on a regular basis. If not, on every occasion that they have coming together as a team.
Yeah, very nice. And Sunil, while this is happening, in your experience, do you see this? What does the leader do? What have you observed?
So when you're asking this question, Madhuri, one very specific example came to my mind, wherein the topic of trust and communication were alluding together, and the team was almost on the verge of dissolving because the members were saying that I don't want to be part of this team because I don't see people coming up, opening up, and sharing very openly, and my growth is being, halt. So when I had individual conversation and understood that, to me it was something more they could do together, and then I just invited them to just come for a conversation together and then see what emerged. And I specifically requested the team leader to take the lead, not me. And I invited him that this is what you see in your team happening. How would you like to take the lead to reflect and make your team members reflect? And when we sat together and when the specific topic was opened up, then with some reluctance at the beginning, but as the uh, some spark of trust emerged that they can open up, one by one members started opening up that this is what their pain area, and people were like kind of shocked that they never learned about it, that this can be a pain for someone else. So it was lack of communication leading to lack of trust. And this two things, when coming together, they won't even understood that what is that causing the problem in the team. And when they started talking, then they understood, okay, there is something which they can do together, and there is something which is possible to do together. And the solution emerged by itself by just having communication.
And what I'm also hearing is that there is co-creation in what both of you are sharing, that the team, that you are reflecting to the team and things are coming up. So we have spoken about two scenarios here, and one is the lack of communication, the second is lack of trust. Uh, there was a project meeting, and there are times when you need to get everybody on board. No, to work towards the project. And of course, there are going to be conflicts. Of course, there is something that probably Nariman has suggested. Why should I contribute to that, right? All those things come into play. What could a team coach do in this scenario? This is the third scenario, by the way. I know somebody has been asking what are the scenarios. So we are on the third scenario. Charles, I know you have a lot of experience working with teams, so checking in with you. What happens in such cases? Oh, you are on mute. You're on mute. Yeah.
So I thought I updated. Speaking of conflicts that may arise in the course of projects, so to speak, the first thing will be that to get everyone on board is the goal. However, conflict is inevitable, and you don't avoid conflict, you embrace it. The question is, how do I embrace conflicts that may arise in a team? Two things are important. You know, the first will be the substantive matters and the inherent matters. The things that are obvious that are causing the conflict, maybe they don't agree on the timeline. Someone may say, we can't deliver, the timeline is too short. Or maybe they don't agree on the approach towards the project. They may decide that they prefer that they do some research. Well, some other people in the team say, we have enough knowledge, let's go and start to execute. So there are differences in approaches. The first thing is to get all the differences to the table, and then to identify the emotions behind those differences. So it may be apparent they disagree on timeline, but what's the emotion behind it? Maybe somebody is going on holiday and is thinking that with this timeline, I can't now ask to go on holiday because this project is going to eat until the holiday time. But he can't say that immediately. He's only going to say the timeline is too long, make it short. That's a substantive part. The inherent part is the emotion behind him wanting it to be short. If you avoid the conflict, you get a disgruntled team member. But when you embrace it, you start to ask, why do you want it to be shorter? What are the advantages of making it shorter? Those questions seem to enable the team members open up about the emotions behind their position. And that's what drives the team dynamic. Embrace the conflict. Let them tell the position, gather the data, then let them share the emotion behind the decision, gather the data. That will help the team to make take the appropriate steps, towards moving the team forward.
Thank you, Charles. Yes, of course, those are. I'm opening up to the panel. What are some other scenarios that you have experienced and you have coached a team on?
Are we talking about the same scenario of conflict?
If you have an example around that, of course. Otherwise, any other example also, CP.
One other example that I've done before is leadership transition.
Mm-hmm.
So a change of a leader, and in a way to incorporate some of the things that we do in new leader integration, right? But on top of that, it's not just to get the new leader to be introduced to the team members, which is what a typical new leader integration workshop or session will be like. But it's also for the rest to have a chance to, share who they are to the leader. So, and of course, facilitating the setting of, any changes to the goals or the expectation, which in many ways is also the reason why there is conflict, because of the differences in how each other see things, right? They may have the same goal, but the process of getting to the goal could be seen in a different way or in different ways. And that's where I think, because of the difference in expectation, the lack of resources, right? Competing with each other for resources, that usually result in conflict within the team. So that's another scenario that I've done team coaching for. Yeah.
Sunil, Charles?
So I have one specific example where I observe the lack of collective ownership or taking the accountability in terms of um, having healthy conflict, we say, because the leaders were in the very comfort zone for their own function, and so far as my targets are achieved, I'm okay. But then how do I don't want to get challenged, and I don't also want to challenge others, and that's where a lot of silo, and that's where we say that team coaching is not about coaching individuals but coaching the connections between them, so that those connections were not allowing the team to function at the best the team could do, because there's a very comfort zone. And when we got into that conversation along with the team leader, and when the leader got this point open, that what stops you to ask the question on the other objectives, because there were no common objectives agreed, and that's where then the whole line of conversation got changed, that how do we own each other's goal and target and question each other, which will lead for a collective ownership of the target rather than just working in the silos. So that's something where team coaching can work in a much finer way to build those connections among the leaders.
So I'm hearing transitioning leaders, I'm hearing silos, leaders working in silos, and all these cases, there is a big emphasis I'm hearing from Sunil and CP around the relationships and the dynamics. And even Charles alluded to that, that there is that conflict, they bring it on the table, but what if people are not ready for that? Right? Charles, over to you.
Right. So you see, if they are not ready for that, also be ready for their unreadiness. Yes. The reason is because just like trying to understand a team, people may not typically open up just because you ask them to. It is also a reflection of an underlying trust issue within the team. All right. And so don't forget, you put it back at the team. Are you ready to talk about the emotion behind the decision? How important is it for the team to move forward? Do you see yourselves as one? Because when we're talking about conflict, the moment they see themselves as individuals, then team coaching, the objective of the team coaching has been defeated. They must see themselves as one. And so the emphasis to the coaches, to the team rather, is that you're one. You're one team. We're not coaching you as individuals. That's group coaching. We're coaching you as one team. So if you are conflicted, how willing are you to untie the knots? Okay. So as long as communication, the power is in communication. Continue to communicate and emphasize the beauty of the goal they've set for themselves. All right? Don't forget that the goal is a collective goal. So keep the goal in sight. It is like the carrot. Keep it in sight. This is the goal. Is the situation here trying to stop you from reaching this goal? How interested are you in reaching this goal? So the more you emphasize that, the more you communicate collaboration between them. Because there is a difference between cooperation and collaboration. In team coaching, it is collaboration, not cooperation. In cooperation, I don't stop you, but I don't actively participate in achieving the goal. but in collaboration, I am an active participant in driving that goal. So you and I must succeed.
Yeah.
That is what will be relevant, and that's what you must keep projecting before the team.
Yeah. And I also heard mirroring and projecting to the team, right? So what you mentioned about collective, and I hear that from all three of you, that means that every time we are planning anything along with the team, that plan has to be created by the team or by the team coach. Who would create the plan as such?
It's the team. It's team's plan to be created by team and owned by team.
Yeah. So friends, it's the same thing as in one-on-one coaching where the coachee owns the journey. In this case, the entire team is going to own that journey of team coaching. So you as a team coach, your role is really to be the coach and coach the team. I hear a lot about relationships, a lot. I'm wondering around these relationships or in terms of even conflict. Uh, when a team coach sees a conflict or sees a certain dynamics in the relationship, other than mirroring, what else does the team coach do? Yes, CP. Go ahead, go ahead. Any
Okay,
of
Charles, go ahead. Wait, Charles.
Go ahead.
I think we do a lot more than just mirroring. I think sometimes we are in a position of asking reflective question to bring up more points or thoughts from the members of the team. Yeah, so that's one of the things that we do, because the more that we can get from the team members, right, the more we can facilitate in the discussion with them or among themselves.
Thank you. So bring out from the team members itself. What else? Charles, I saw you going on and off mic, please. Go ahead.
Yep, I was going to also point that out. When the team, beyond mirroring the team, reflective questions, and just to point out what you said earlier on, the goal, that is the foundation of the team coaching. If that foundation is not solid, you're building on quicksand. So revisit the goal.
Yeah.
All right. I would say revisit the goal. You want to be sure that that goal is the team's goal, not the team leader's goal or the most influential person's goal or the weakest person's goal. It is the team's goal. So that's what you should do.
Very nice. So I'm just going to quickly put all the 7 scenarios, and then I have a few questions for the 3 of you. We've just we have attempted to put all the 7 that we heard, and I think I added one of my own. Creating a culture of ownership is something I heard briefly, but I did add that. And moving from avoiding conflict to embracing that's what I heard as well. So shifting to a collective focus and how do we differentiate between a healthy and unhealthy conflict is my question now. How do we know that this is a healthy conflict and this one is an unhealthy conflict, and then how do we kind of tell the team what's happening? Question to all the audience as well. What do you consider as a healthy conflict? So you can put your message, your answers in the chat box. What do you consider as a healthy conflict within teams?
So while they are sharing,
Yeah.
one of the thoughts I have about conflict is that conflict is positive. We disagree to agree. there is friction and it leads to cohesion. However, a conflict becomes unhealthy when it's recurring. It means that we are constantly coming back to the same issues. It means we're not growing. We're not growing. Because if we disagree about a matter and we sincerely disagree, then we grow beyond it. Because the disagreement is meant to improve our understanding of ourselves as it concerns that matter. So one of the first flashpoints will be recurring conflict in the same area.
Mhm.
That will be, you know, a kind of conflict that you know is not helping the team. But when they disagree by themselves, that's okay. We are all different. It's okay. All right. In African parlance, I say there is no soup you make with one ingredient. No soup you make with one ingredient. So conflict is positive. It only becomes unhealthy when, oh, just one example. There are many other examples of unhealthy conflict, but when it is reoccurring, renewable conflict. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, CP.
Yeah. Another perspective, and that's something that Prof. David, has very nicely articulated during my time, the time that I spent with him, when we talk about conflict, right? So first of all, I agree with Charles that conflict in general, it shouldn't be unhealthy, right? It arises from individual having disagreement, and there will be bound to be disagreement, and disagreement can come from disagreeing on issues, or even because of personality differences, right? So I think one of the participants have mentioned, right? Conflict is healthy when conflict is issue-based and not personality based, right? I think I will add on to that to say that if the disagreement is because of the purpose, right? The purpose of the goal, or for the team to reach certain outcome, then it should be encouraged. If it's punitive, if it's punitively based, right? In other words, if it's meant to punish people, it's meant to make people look weak. If it's meant, for someone to take advantage, over someone else, and this has got nothing to do with the issues or with the goal, then it's unhealthy. So in other words, it's really between, is it, based on certain personal differences or other personal issues, or if it's because of the issues that the team ought to focus on, right? If it's more personal issues, then those have to be addressed at a separate platform. And if individual can't move on with that, then, or rather one wants to have power over the other, and that has become very unhealthy and toxic. Whereas the one that is on issue, on why the team is trying to head to, right, then that should be encouraged or should be discussed. Yeah.
So the issues to be discussed, and as long as they are not personality based, or kind of is, like you mentioned, punitive to a particular person, I think that's something that could be brought up. But in my experience, I also noticed that there are leaders who influence these kind of conflicts, and healthy or unhealthy both. And when there is that healthy conflict going on, while a leader is influencing, the trust in that team could be so high that they are able to have that healthy conflict, and that's okay with each person. But in this unhealthy space, what is it that the team coach could do?
Can I just add on the part on personality? I think even healthy conflicts can occur because of personality differences, and that is basically the very reason why people see things differently, because they have different preferences in how things are done, right? That's what personality basically brings about, right? Preferences in behaviors and how things are done, right? I will add on to say that if it's about punishing someone, if it's about getting someone to look weak, or to be in a weaker position and being taken advantage of, then of course that will be unhealthy. If there's certain kind of a personal agenda among the individual, which of course can be because of the differences in personality, can fester into that. So that has to be addressed at a different platform. Yeah.
And alongside, I think Sunil and I experienced this in one of the engagements where we had a chance to work together, where the leader was in a different space and there was conflict, but there it was pushed under the carpet, wasn't it, Sunil? What was your experience then? What was going on?
Yeah, so again, it comes from a space of fear sometimes where you don't want to raise conflict, and there is a conflict, but then there is no courage to raise that conflict or disagreement. And what a coach can do is not only to reflect, but also sometimes challenge. So, as rightly said by CP, if the conflict is coming because of the purpose or intention not being to raise the performance of team, but to serve the individual ego or individual purpose, then you can even bring it to the surface and challenge it. That what is that something you are bringing it to the table, and that's where it works really well in that team setting to bringing the elephant to the table, that this is what we need to address. How do you all together as a team we look at it?
I can see some in the chat box as well, some really nice points where different viewpoints are openly discussed, leading to a creative problem solving. That's healthy conflict, definitely, most definitely. There are quite a few there. People are talking about psychological safety. And Sunil, you also mentioned that there is fear. So when there is fear, is there safety then?
Absolutely not, and that's where the that psychological safety comes in a picture, because I won't raise my disagreement openly, or I won't raise even there is a genuine point of view, because I fear I would be considered in a particular way. So that's a trust or safety.
Absolutely. So fear of criticism by the leader himself or herself, and then there is a fear of judgment about others, and just fear of failure, maybe by a team. All these fears arise during this time. In your experience, if you have to work with such a team, which is there is lack of trust, what would you how would you bring it up to the leader?
Yeah, Charles, go ahead. It's your
Yeah.
turn. Yeah, please go ahead.
Because in a team coaching, you're meant to transfer the leadership or the coaching of the team to their leader. It's important for you to have a one-on-one conversation with the leader to also determine whether or not he or she is observing or can observe the conflict or the challenges within the team. The reason is because statistics has shown that one of the greatest impediments to the growth of a team is the leader and the leadership style of that leader. So maybe the leader needs some one-on-one coaching, but it is important to have a conversation with the leader. He may be oblivious. He or she may be oblivious about what is happening in the team, or they may be past caring. They may not see it as an issue. I once talked to a senior leader in an organization. I said, we can come and talk to your people about how to manage and resolve conflicts within the. He said, no. We don't have conflict in my company. We have team spirit. So you can see his attitude towards conflict is that it's negative. He's living in denial because even we can be conflicted with ourselves.
Yeah.
So that kind of leader requires some form of reality conversation. And that is the approach. Can they see it? If they can see it, what do they want to do about it? Who do they think is going to be useful in resolving it? Or what do they think will be useful in resolving it? That conversation is the best way to bring it up. So don't let the leader feel on the spot and don't let them feel uncomfortable, but let them see the team in the mirror.
Thanks, Charles. See the team in the mirror. CP, your thoughts?
I totally agree, right? Sometimes the lack of trust could be the issue with the leader, who could have created, the atmosphere. And lack of trust basically, is one thing that is an outcome of fear, right? Or very quickly, if there's any certain fear, then people will not be willing to trust each other with, information that they think, right, can be used against them. Even sharing things like, being frustrated with what's happening, that itself can be used against the individual who has, who mentioned such frustration. So I totally agree with Charles. It was also my same point that I wanted to share that, sometimes it starts with the leader.
Thank you. In interest of time, I know we have a lot of examples around these scenarios, a lot more that all three of you have been experiencing. How can an organization measure the impact of team coaching? Or they would typically ask you, why should I implement team coaching? And what has been your answer to such questions? CP, yes.
Yeah. Is actually the evaluation starts right at the beginning, right? You look at the purpose of why you do the team coaching in the first place. And the favorite question I always ask is that, if the team can get better in whatever the issue is, right? What will be things that you can observe with your team? And then you just measure that, right? You can, use that back as the indicator for measurement. Of course, there can always be a more quantitative way of doing it. Is that you run the survey before and after. And then, you see whether they have any changes in, for example, you can use various, diagnostic model, like 5 behaviors, or you use fearless organization scan that is the work of Dr. Amy Edmondson. So these are some of the things that you can do. If any one of you do have a chance to read Prof. David's work, his parallel model actually has a diagnostic tool as well. You can go to his website, CCMI. I can't remember the whole full website, but it's his website called CCMI. And he shares his diagnostic assessment openly, for you to use. And that is the one thing that he uses to show the impact of team coaching based on his parallel model.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have been using our own model at through our B2B, which is Mirak, which is our offering, which is our own leadership model, where we look at assessments, like you mentioned, CP, where we'll do a before and after assessment, and then reflect back all the results of how each person is and what is coming up for that leader. Wonderful. My next question is around the ICF credentialing to become a team coach. Sunil, you have achieved your ACTC already, and I know CP is on the way and soon followed by Charles. But first question to you, what are the advantages of having trained with an ACTC credential training course?
So one of the biggest advantages is the confidence, because you have gone through that path knowing the competencies, embodying those competencies inside you for team coaching, because ICF comes up with those very settled team coaching competencies on top of one-to-one coaching competencies. And when you go through that whole process of accreditation, you get those grilled inside you that how do I embody those in my mindset when I'm coaching a team. I'm not coaching individuals, but I'm coaching a team. So that's that confidence you get, and that while you get accredited, that get also validated that now yes, I know what I'm doing. So that's the biggest advantage, I would say, to transition from a one-to-one coach to a team coach, to think in a team perspective.
Absolutely. Charles and CP, how about you? I will add in to that as well. But how do you look at getting trained in an ACTC credentialed team coach course?
Yeah, I think what it does for you is that it exposes you to the correct conceptions and the dynamics and the challenges and the gaps that teams face, which they need to close using the various methodologies in team coaching. What I find most interesting about it is human beings are dynamic, so are teams. So when you go through a team coaching training, you get into the world of that dynamism so that you're not overwhelmed with the challenges in the team, but rather you're able to follow significant fundamental steps towards bringing value to the team. And of course, 14 weeks, depending on your time zone, if it's in our time zones, you have to wake up a little earlier, sometimes stay up a little late. And then afterwards, the coach competencies, which are there on the ICF website for team coaching, and then you're on your way.
Absolutely. CP, your thoughts on the ACTC training?
I add on with a very practical reason why one should go through the training and the certification, because it gives you the credibility, of having gone through a proper training and proper vetting process.
Absolutely. And the 7 scenarios that we just saw over here, these are some of the things that as a team coach, in terms of the competencies that we learn during the entire course, that's what we are looking at. As Sunil said, embodying or even bringing, having that credibility to go out in the market and say, I am a team coach, right? Or like Charles said, the 14 weeks, the journey itself, experiencing that whole thing. What Coach to Transformation or what we have brought to you through this course is also a team of teams. So there is a team of faculty which comes in and does the program where you throughout the 14 weeks you will experience all the fun, all the conflict, all the kinds of different dynamics that you will experience in a real team as well. So that's the attempt to actually make it experiential, like Charles or CP said as well, where you are embodying the every competency one by one, and also going into an examination, so to say, by ICF, which actually tests you on the different scenarios. So that's the whole purpose of even bringing in scenarios for today's discussion. As a team coach, you're never going to do a team coaching in one session. It's going to be a journey. That's what I'm hearing from all the 3 panelists here who are now experiencing team coaching through the ICF way of team coaching by applying all the competencies and the models that they are trained on. It's a journey, and that journey could be a before and after journey, which we will go to the team and ask them, what is it that you want to see as yourself as a team after say 3 months or 6 months or a year? And that's the kind of durations, or 2 years that I have seen all three of them work with in the last how many months that I know them. But that's how it has been. Whenever there is a team coaching, it comprises of trainings, is what I'm hearing. There could be set of team coaching journeys or team coaching sessions, observations, like CP said, where you are actually observing the team at work. And like Sunil said, there could be conflicts arising. Charles alluded on, there has to be a conflict. Whenever there is a team, there has to be a good conflict or a bad conflict. And a team coach is working through all of that, all of those relationships, all of that that is coming out and helping the team or supporting the team to achieve the end goal or the common goal that they have set for themselves. Whether it is hence bringing out their own stories at the beginning, or whether it is achieving those numbers. So thank you, Charles. Thanks, CP and Sunil. I'm going to open the floor to for question answers. So if you have anything that you thoughts, questions, something that has struck for you, please let us know. Open. You can put your hand up and open mic and speak. I can see some things on the chat box, so just checking in. Kiran has mentioned something which is different viewpoints are openly discussed, leading to creative problem solving. Individuals push their agenda. And CP, can you share these over chat? Right. Kiran, can you explain what you're talking about?
Oh, I think we have a question from someone with the hands up.
Yeah, Charlie. Charlie, hello.
Yeah, it was a good session, and I learned a lot. On my way from New York, I just landed in Abidjan just to catch up just to connect to the session. And I think appreciate the difference made between group coaching and team coaching. Yeah, it's clear that when it comes to team, we see clearly that a team it's like in sport, if we have to illustrate, and you might have a group that just happen to be as we usually see, and then groups normally might happen to learn or maybe to end at any kind of objective. It might be positive, it might also be negative, as it usually happens, but the team has a very clear, objective and an intention. And I think this is one of the key words that I keep myself when it comes to team. There is an intention when people gather as a team. If there is no intention, it will be difficult to get that. So what I would like to flag in is that when we did the session, and I'm happy that I've already done this session. I did systemic team coaching first and advanced systemic team coaching training. What I've learned is that when you build it, around kind of frameworks that that has kind of harmony, like the 5 dysfunctions of Lencioni, Patrick Lencioni. That's what I will advise to people, because most of the time when we talk team coaching, it might go and come from anywhere, but at least we can have a kind of framework, and starting with the 5 dysfunction of Lencioni, it will help us, to streamline our intervention. That's what I've learned in this, and just wanted to add this to the conversation. And we learned that during our training session. And I've been learning, and Patrick Lencioni has written so many books that always have to do with teams leadership, leaders leading teams and things like that. So, but the 5 dysfunction is perfectly a wonderful introduction. And then when you are already when you have already designed your, where you want to focus, you can now do whatever you want, given your own specificities, your personalities, and anything else. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for adding on. Definitely, to five dysfunctions is something that we do cover, Charlie, during our team coaching program at Coach to Transformation. Thank you. Dumi, I see your hand up.
Thank you, Aduri. Great session again. And sorry, I got dropped off a number of times. I came back, I may have missed some things. But three quick things I want to share, and just as a takeaway, the brilliant panel, thank you. Number one is the need not to impose ourselves on the team that has invited us to come and work with them, whether it's through L&D, talent, HR, or anyone who's done that, or the team leader. It's very important to see who brought us in and how do we come in to work with the team. Not to impose it. I know I'm a coach. I've got a solution for you. I'll do team coaching for you guys. There is a balance in that, but always be very important around that. I found that works very, very well. And then the ABC, always be contracting. And I think it's been covered, but just to emphasize the point that you got to constantly contract and recontract with the team, the stakeholders, team leader, and the system that the team operates in. Very, very important. Sometimes we focus too much on the team and we lose sight of the system that the team is operating on. And we need to constantly contract and recontract with that. And finally, building the team's coaching skills. Very, very important that within the team itself, so that the coach can continue to coach itself when you're not there. A big part of our work, we need to be able to work ourselves out of the job. Yes, that's part of what we need to do. And that builds our credibility as coaches. It's not about us and the logging of the calls. It's about supporting the system to support itself. Yeah, great work. Thanks, Madhuri.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that out. Systemic effect is something that definitely happens, because if you're working with a sales team, that sales team is also talking to an operations team. That sales team is also talking to somebody from finance and so on. So if as a team coach, you are looking at that view as a bird's view, so to say, definitely. Thank you, Dumi. Kiran?
Hi, thanks for this session. Great panelists, and they've shared great insights. So thank you for that. I believe you mentioned my name with regards to the question that I had posted. I was looking for some examples because they are experienced team coaches, and because even the 7 scenarios are somewhere leading to the culture, the team culture. Because at times, we have worked in teams, we have seen teams. Organization culture is sometimes, at other place, and teams are at other place. Within the team, there are different cultures happening. So if anyone can share real life examples where after team coaching, it has really impacted the organization culture. And, that was the question.
CP,
Thanks.
over to you.
It's part of it, but I would say that it's a process of changing the culture. It starts with the one, to the few, and then to the many. As we know, culture permeates throughout the organization. But so my answer to you is that definitely there will be impact on the culture. But the devil is in the measurement, right? On how has the culture changed and so on. Of course, you can use tools like engagement survey and so on as a measurement. But my short answer to you is definitely will impact. But it's going to be a journey. It's going to take time.
And it's not easy to show that impact also, Kiran. And what I would also add on is that team coaching is very, very new. What you are seeing here, what you're hearing from all of us, it's just about a few years old. When coaching itself is new, you can imagine how we are still gaining insights about the impact of team coaching and how is it working. But we are very proud to say that we have pioneers from all the 3 batches who have come here and contributed to the space of team coaching. And it's all of us are learning and growing in this space. So I believe as a coach, we never stop learning. So we all learn from each other. Soon, I hope we can see this room full of team coaches the next time we meet to share a lot more examples.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, checking in on the group. Any more, any thoughts, anything else that anybody would like to share?
So, Madhuri, there's a question in the chat from
Please take it up.
Alpha. And the question is, citing Charles' example of the leader being the source of a team's problem, how would you engage or coach such a leader, seeing that he does not see there is a problem or that he is a problem? I think Charles already addressed the answer to this question, and also CP addressed this, that how do you address this problem is that there is a parallel possibility of one-to-one coaching for the leader when you are doing the team coaching, that when a leader is in a very different world, and he may need one-to-one coaching. That's what Charles and what CP mentioned, that you can introduce one-to-one coaching for leader, and then parallelly you also get into team coaching, and that could be one of the possibilities.
Absolutely. Friends, it's an exciting space to be in. It's a very fresh space as well. You get an opportunity to look at all these dynamics. So you look at all the relationships, and there is so much more that you're doing than just in one-on-one coaching. So I invite you all to be part of this group of pioneering team coaches. Please join us whenever you can. Learn, grow with us as team coaches. And with that, I want to also thank you so much, CP, Charles, and Sunil, for contributing wholeheartedly through your experience, through your sharing, and generously spending this time with us on this panel. There is a lot more to do and to speak about team coaching. I can go on, and I'm very privileged and thankful that you all have allowed us this time and you've spent this time with us talking about team coaching. I hope to gain a lot more experience from all of you as well. So please do connect with us. You have our information. Aishwarya has also shared the CCEU certificate. For those who are, want to go in and get those, please go ahead and log in, get your CCEUs. But if you want to know more about how to become a team coach as well, approach Aishwarya and the team. Aishwarya, over to you. Thank you so much. CP, Charles, Sunil, thank you for sharing all your experiences. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Madhuri.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madhuri and CP and Sunil and Charles. Thank you so much for today's informative webinar. I'm sure everybody else also felt the same. I've shared the CCU link. Please register so that you receive your CCU certificate immediately. Also, as Madhuri mentioned, the ones who are interested in knowing more about team coaching, there is a communities of practice that we have created only for team coaching. So please do join that as well. It is available on our LinkedIn. I will share it with you all. And the ones who are looking to become ACTC credentialed coaches, I'm available here to just connect with me. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a great evening ahead, or morning, or night, wherever you guys are joining from. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Have a great